Okay, so I'm going to try this again. There was a lot of background noise and distraction the last time I did this live just a few minutes ago, and my thoughts were kind of all over the place. So I'm going to do it again. I want to do it live so that there's not a lot of I'm not compelled with the perfectionism in my chart to go back and edit and do all that, because we're talking, what I really want to talk about today are habits, self-care, and the seasons. And I'm probably going to break this out into three parts. I realized that at the last the last recording on the live that I did a few minutes ago, that it's a lot of something to consider, and I've written down several questions that I want you to consider. And I really want you to take this in if you're resonating with this, so that you have something useful to work with during this time of the year. Now, what I noticed is that this time of the year, especially here I've got cat hair here, sorry, it's really distracting me a little bit. I had my cat up here, it was crazy. Anyway, this time of the year on the East Coast of the US is we're moving into the fall season, and I notice, even though it's really pretty warm here, that there are these little subtle changes that start to happen. And it's not like summer runs into fall all of a sudden. There is a time later on, in probably another month or two, where all of a sudden it'll turn to what seems like winter, or the slide into winter. But right now it's just these subtle little changes, like the mornings are cooler, the evenings are cooler, the leaves, some of the early leaves are just starting to turn yellow. We're not yet even close to that the full color of the forest and the trees when they turn into their full fall colors. But you can feel it. It's in the air, and the same is true a lot of times with us and our bodies and our life cycles. The things start to change. They're like little subtle changes that happen, and if we're not paying attention, we may not notice them. However, when we're really aware and we really understand that, okay, this is the beginning, that's where we have a chance, especially in our day-to-day, how we live our lives, right? That's where we have a chance to begin to develop new habits around how we take care of ourselves, how we live our lives, that will grow and strengthen as we move into the next season of our life, and allow us to have a stronger support system through our habits, stronger, more supportive habits, as that next phase of life really begins to develop. So in terms of like the seasons here, it has, right now, it's getting to be about that time where leaves need to be raked up, gutters need to be cleaned because snow is coming, and weather is going to get a little bit more severe several months down the line. But right now it's the time to kind of clean everything up, kind of get ready to a certain extent, for that next season, even though it's not here. So this is a little bit different than kind of what I was talking about in the last live stream that I deleted because of all of the noise. So I'm just going to sort of trust where I'm going with this, because I think it's important. So let's weave that back into, this understanding of the human design chart, because I know a lot of you are interested in human design. That's why you're watching this, because you know me in that realm. And, design is really our building block. Our design is really our building block for how we live our lives. And when you first come into understanding yourself through the lens of your human design body graph, you're moved into this experiment, or you're encouraged to experiment with your strategy for how you live your life, and your authority for how you make decisions according to your energy type and the way that your energy works. So I want to encourage you to do that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go to my website at sandyfreshy.com. There's a human design kit there with some resources that will get you started. And if you aren't even interested in that, continue to watch, because we're really talking about understanding or being aware of how the subtle changes in the beginning of a shift are really important to pay attention to, because this is the time when you can begin to reorient your habits in order to prepare a stronger foundation for when you fully shifted into that next phase of your life, into the next season, into the next way that you need to take care of yourself. And for me, my paradigm is self-care first. You got to take care of what's in here. You have to be aware of what's in here and work with the body aspect of what's going on in your life, or what you're feeling in here, and make sure that this foundation is strong, and how you take care of this vehicle that you ride through life in, is really in alignment with who you are in terms of type, strategy, who you know yourself to be, I guess, is how we can put that. So, and that's really basically, what strategy and authority are about in your understanding your human design body graph. When you follow your strategy, you listen to your decision-making authority, so that you're making decisions that really honor how you're designed to operate, then your body works much better. You have less stress and resistance as your body moves you through life. And that's kind of the foundation of the whole shift and change into becoming more of who you were born to be. So let's make that more concrete in terms of what you can begin to look at and become aware of, or things that you can practice. Because for some of us, like us projectors or even generators, you have this strategy to wait, or reflectors too. We have a strategy to wait. For projectors and reflectors, we're waiting quite a bit of time. There's time that is involved in waiting. So what are we doing while we're waiting? We're taking care of ourselves. We're looking at ourselves. We're cultivating some sense of awareness, and hopefully a deeper honor for how we're embodied, and how our embodiment moves us through life, or how we travel through life in this embodiment. So, you're not sitting on a cushion waiting, right? Even generators, you're not sitting on a cushion waiting for that next thing to respond to. You're living your life. So life is your classroom, basically. So here's a question. Here's a little something to take into your classroom of life to consider as you move through your day, as you do your activities, whether they're, work activities, or taking care of yourself, or taking care of your home or your environment or the people around you. This is an opportunity to really look at and consider, who do you know yourself to be at this point? As we change, as we move into being more of who we are, through that human design experiment, or just through maturity, just through moving chronologically year to year from age 20 to age 50, we change. Our concept of who we are changes, and certainly when you really get deep into your design, your concept really changes because you realize that who you thought you were is only part of the story. However, you're still living your life, and life is giving you all kinds of cues about that. Okay, so just consider, you don't have to pull out your chart, you don't have to pull out the definitive guide of human design or any of the other human design resources that you have to really study this. Your life is going to show you. So who do you know yourself to be, and how are your habits supporting or not supporting who you know yourself to be at this point? My cat has a habit over here that I've got to... Anyway, if you hear background noise, it's my cat breaking into his food. So that's a cue to me to support him in his body. So I'll get off of here in a minute. But the question is, who do you know yourself to be? Or how are your habits supporting or not supporting who you know yourself to be at this point in your life? So just observe that, just observe that. What are you doing? How are you taking care of your body? What are you doing for work? What decisions and choices are you making in your relationships or your day-to-day daily living activities that either add more stress to you? Because remember, if you're moving through life in a way that's really aligned with your design, you're not necessarily, you're going to have a lot less stress. There's going to be more ease. Not that life is going to be perfect, but there's just going to be more ease and flow in your life. So, what choices, your clue in life is, those choices that you make that are creating more stress or creating more resistance and not allowing you to really move and flow with how your body and your sensibility really wants to go, or how your body and soul really want to flow. So I'm going to leave you with that question at this point. I have a few other questions, but when I recorded this before, I realized that I was on the verge of giving you a big data dump and overwhelming you. So I'd love to know what your comments are. I'd love for you to take this back, take this awareness into your life, consider this as you move through your day, and come back and give me some feedback on that. What are you seeing? What are you observing? What are your habits and choices that are supporting you? What are your habits and choices that aren't? So you can leave those in the comments box. And I'm doing this because last month I was sort of inspired or called to offer a program called Self-Care Reboot. And I'm actually just now getting around to doing that because of all of the shifts and changes in my life. I just never quite got it together for this month of September. And I will post a link down below. But I know that self-care and your habits around the way you take care of yourself are really important. And if you're interested in joining us for a deeper dive, please go and check out the link to the Self-Care Reboot. It's going to be kind of a combination of self-study and some live group work that's optional, because by the time a lot of times if you're ready to really look at your habits and make changes, you're kind of overstressed and overwhelmed. So I'm working on slowing things down and allowing or creating an opening for you to come in at any level that you need to come in, any participation level you need to come in. And even if that doesn't resonate with you, or it's too overwhelming, or it's just not appropriate for you at this time to go into a deeper look at your habits and your self-care, even though you may be going through some shifts and changes, I want to provide you with these questions in this framework, in this format, these beginning questions, so that you start to consider where you can begin to make changes. And then if you decide you want to have some more support for that, please, you are invited to come and join us for the Self-Care Reboot. But I will come back with another, the next part 2 of the whole 3-part thing that I had made notes on. I'll come back with that probably sometime mid next week. If not, and if I don't get to it, it'll be definitely by the end of next week. And because I'm going through my own shifts and changes, I'm going to be otherwise occupied for the next few days. So taking care of some loose ends in my own life. So go ahead and just take a deep breath. Getting ready to start the rest of my day. And maybe you are partway through your day and want to just take a little pause here. And allow any awarenesses, or allow or intend to be shown or to see the awarenesses that you need to see about the habits that you've created or that you're practicing that either serve or don't serve who you know yourself to be at this point. All right, so that's it for today. Have a lovely weekend, and there will be more to come on self-care, habit self-care, and shifts and changes in your life and in the seasons. Until the next time, be well.